Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to start a new thing I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to start doing weekly reading vlogs and just seeing how I like it. And it's not just gonna be reading, it's gonna be like other stuff that I'm doing throughout the week. And so today's Monday, we're gonna start it off, and I just got back from work. Hunter, my husband, works late today, so we're gonna catch up on a couple things, do some reading. I'm gonna update you guys as I read. So we'll see how it goes. So something else I've been working on kind of just in my free time is a little bit of gardening. Lilo is out here with me looking at the garden. So these are my herbs that I have. I have cilantro, basil, lavender, and sage. So we're gonna water those really quick. They're doing okay. This was, I believe, parsley, and it did not survive. So yeah. And then over here we have my raised beds, which is a couple of different things I'm working on. Honestly, not a lot of it's working out fantastic. Probably the best is my snow peas that are trying right here. I have a couple of tomato plants that are attempting to do something, and then I have a cucumber plant that is suffering a little bit, but we're gonna water them anyway just to see what happens. And I also planted some seeds here of various other things, so we're gonna try it. Alright, so I figured before I start some of my reading, I'll go ahead and give you like a little bit of an in progress thing. Hello. So, right now I am listening to the audiobook for the second book in the Farseer trilogy from Robin Hobb. This is my first experience with Robin Hobb, and it was a recommendation from a friend, and I really enjoyed the first one. Oh gosh, I don't remember. Is it The Fool's Assassin? So, I don't know, the first one in the Farseer trilogy, but I'm on the Royal Assassin now, which I'll put a picture on the screen. But I'm about 30% done with it, I think, and I'm really enjoying it. I really loved the first one. It's very fun. It's very almost like cozy fantasy. With you follow this character Fitz. Essentially, I talked about it in I think my last video, or not my last video, the one before the tour. I talked a little bit about it, but I finished it. I gave it 4 stars, but I really loved it. I don't know. I think if I could give it like 4.5. And the only reason being, it's a little bit different than what I'm used to, because you're just following like one person. It's almost like a memoir, which is very different for me for like a fantasy perspective. I'm used to like a big cast of characters, a lot of different things going on. And while there is a lot going on, and the world is very interesting, and the magic is very interesting as well, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very intricate, and like there's a lot of cool stuff with animals. I'm a big animal lover. If you're a horse girl, you know, or you were, there's a lot of horse and dog discussion with his powers, and it's a lot, very like psychological, like mind kind of powers. So I like that. I think that's very interesting. Gives me like kind of like Skyrim, Game of Thrones kind of vibe, like around that time. There's a lot of good discussions around like, you know, emotion, like different relationships and things like that, which is very interesting always in fantasy to me. But yeah, it's just not like, I don't know, so far, at least with like just the first one, I don't foresee it being like one of my all-time favorite, like forever favorite, like fantasy series, just by the first book. But I feel like you can't really judge things by the first book, because I feel like a lot of it is set up. And I know that Robin Hobb has a huge universe of like like my friend was telling me, like the Elderlings is like 15 different books that somehow interconnect. So I'm definitely gonna keep reading, because I really like Robin Hobb's writing style. I like a lot of the things that she does. So I'm excited to keep going. And again, and this one's really good so far. It basically picks up right where the last one leaves off, which is always nice, just seeing a continuous story. So yeah, that's what I'm listening to currently. I did just finish House of Hollow with my friend Katie. We buddy read it, and it was really cool. I listened to that one on audiobook as well. Very creepy, very kind of like genre bending, because you get like, there's fantasy, there's mystery, there's horror, there's like kind of like a contemporary vibe, but basically you're following 3 different siblings in this book. V, Gray, and Iris all have cool names. And they were like, something happened to them when they were kids, when they were like 7. They disappeared and just like reappeared. And they were like missing for like a few months, a month, something like that. And they just reappeared, and they can't remember like anything that happened to them. And so a lot of things happen because of that. A lot of things happen around that. Their parents kind of unravel a little bit and go a little bit crazy. And the sisters don't really know how to like cope with the things that happen because they don't know what happened. And there's a lot about sibling dynamics, different things like that. And yeah, creepy. It's definitely creepy. So, and it's not super scary. It's more like unsettling, and like, I think that's the way I would describe it. Anyway, so that was really good. I haven't decided what I'm rating that one yet, because tonight me and Katie are going to discuss it while we play games later tonight. So I'm gonna wait to talk to her about our full thoughts before I decide what I want to rate it as. And then physically, I am reading this book, The Wilder Women by Ruth M. Lang. This one is really interesting so far. It's different than what I normally read. This is another one that's pretty genre bending, and this is from Book of the Month. I got this a couple months back. My goal is to maybe finish this evening. This is another one that's kind of genre bending because it reads to me like a contemporary novel. Like, you're definitely following like these 2 siblings. Again, these are sisters that are relatively close in age that are looking for their mom. It's perceived that their mom left them, but the 2 sisters, Zadie and Finn, have reason to believe that their mom didn't leave on her own accord, but they don't really have any proof. But the 2 sisters both have this unique powers, essentially like kind of like psychic abilities. Like Zadie, the older sibling, is able to look into the future and see things in the future, like, but she doesn't really have super good control over it, so it's kind of like at random. And then Finn, it has the ability to sense what's called like an echo. If you're a video game player and you like Life is Strange, this really reminds me a lot of Life is Strange, those games, which I love, by the way. And this cover's pretty too. But yeah, so you're kind of doing a dual timeline situation. You're toggling between the past and the present. I don't know, something, like I'm really enjoying it, but something's missing just a little bit. I think maybe from the writing perspective, I don't know. Something's just not completely hitting like I want it to with this, but I'm still having a good time and I'm gonna finish it. And it is different because, again, you're following like a mystery. So you're basically the 2 sisters go on like this road trip, and so they're looking through like the Finn, who senses like the echoes, which is like memories basically based on location. So like if she was at like a gas station, she would sense memories from people at this gas station. So she's trying to trace her mom like through these memories and try to figure out what happened and see if they can find her. So they're just on this like journey, definitely like a quest journey driven book. And then fun, I think I talked about this in one of my last videos too, but my friend Josh is reading through all of Sarah J. Maas's works. And he's currently on Heir of Fire, which, no spoilers if you're watching this, Josh, but I have a lot of tabs. And I've realized that like how in handy my annotations come in. I really want to reread these and do like even more in-depth annotation and really just experience all the story again. And I'm still working on the video. I'm going to do the big compilation of how I feel like you should read these books. And everybody has a different opinion. Honestly, it's in my opinion, if you just read them, that's good enough because like they're really great. So I'd be happy if you just read them. This one, and so I'm kind of like going through my annotations. I don't really have time, or like, I do have time, but like I'm not rereading them, but I'm going through like chapter by chapter, like my different annotations of them, and going through it with him together. So that's fun. If you want to ever do that with your friends, definitely a fun time. Because it's really helping me remember the story, and I tagged a lot of the key points. I do have a video on how and why like I do my annotations. I have a different video on that if you want to watch it on my channel. So yeah, right now I'm just gonna read some of this. I'm gonna try to finish this and I'll give you my thoughts when I finish. Okay, I finished this one. I'm gonna give my full thoughts later, but I'm gonna put it up and pick up my next read because I'm a psychopath and I like to always have a read on hand. So we'll see what I'm in the mood for. Say hi to the vlog. It's Wednesday, we're doing our makeup and we're gonna go hang out with my brother and his fiance.
What?
Headbands, but then we both want the spider, so we're gonna get the spider.
I used to be that. I'm going, go.
Do you want it?
Kinda. Hey.
You are very welcome. I also have a side of ranch egg
Thanks. There you go. Say goodbye.
Bye.
they came up with this new teaching.
Alright, here's a little overview of the makeup I have on today. I have the One Heck of a Blot primer from Soap & Glory. I have a combination of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer and the e.l.f. Halo Glow, which is super awesome. It's like nice and glowy. I mix it in usually with whatever foundation I'm wearing. And then I have the CoverGirl True Blend Concealer that I really enjoy. It's got great coverage. And then I also have the CoverGirl Loose Powder that's been a staple for me recently. I have the Essence Sun Club bronzer, and then I have the Alamar Cosmetics blush trio. I have on this middle color, Romantica, and then I also have the Essence Pure Nude highlighter on. So mostly drugstore things. All of these are really awesome products that are stuff I've been using a lot lately. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog, but I wanted to give you guys kind of like a wrap up of what I read in this vlog, where I'm currently reading, and where I'm at. Okay, so in this vlog, I did finish one book. I finished The Wilder Women by, let me grab it really quick. I finished The Wilder Women by Ruth Emmy Lang. This is the cover. I enjoyed this. I don't think it was like a new favorite at all. This one, it's very unique. I think I talked about it a little bit in an earlier clip from earlier this week. But I like the concept. They have unique powers, the two sisters. I like the journey of, you know, finding themselves and finding their mom, and like the quest they kind of go on. But some of the things just felt a little flat. I didn't feel like the character arcs were like exactly on par with what I usually expect from fantasy. And I would say this is like magical realism, less on the fantasy and more on like the contemporary feel. But it was okay. I would recommend it. It was quick, it was short. I would recommend it if you want something like short and sweet and to the point, like a quest-centered sibling dynamics, that sort of book. Yeah, so I finished that one. And then I started two books, or technically, wait. So I started this book, which you saw some clips of, The Darkness Outside Us. This is for my workbook club that we have, and I have finished part one. This is interesting so far. It's a sci-fi about these two opposing countries or regions. It's not fully explained yet. I love the cover. It is very pretty in the colors. But you're following two men who are in this spaceship, and they are coming from opposing countries to do this essentially like a rescue mission for one of the guys' sister is lost in space. And they're also trying to accomplish various other tasks. They're just like, they've been trained and like raised up to be space explorers. You don't really get much background. You're just kind of thrown in at first, which I feel like that's kind of common for sci-fi. But they don't really super set everything up, which I don't know if I like or not. I do wish there was a little bit more exposition on what's going on. I'm sure there will be later, but it's not a super long book. We haven't had our book club discussion yet, so I don't have like my full thoughts. I really like to have like discussion around it before deciding like my final thoughts. But as far as like this first little section, I'm not super impressed. I think it's like an interesting concept, but don't know if it's going to be delivering yet. We'll see. And my audiobook I'm working on right now, The Royal Assassin, which is the second book in the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. I am absolutely loving this book. I'm almost done. It is really cool, very adventurous. The exploration of the relationships in that book and the different dynamics between like duty and honor and then like love and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of really cool, there's a lot of layers. There's a lot going on. there's a lot of characters with a lot of really great arcs. There's a lot of good messages. So that's kind of like what I want out of a dynamic like fantasy series. Kind of what I'm looking for. But this is only the second book, and there's already a lot of development. I think there's 3 books in the actual trilogy, but the actual Elderlings like universe series, I'm not exactly fluent on like what exactly it all is, but it's a lot of books. But I know that this specific story is a trilogy, so I'm excited to start the next one. I'm almost done with the second one. I'll almost finish it this week, but I will be finished by the next time we chat. Then I also started for fun Ready Player One, which is another sci-fi. Normally I don't read like the same genre, like 2 different ones at once, but the thing is, when I have like the book club book, when I catch up on it, I'm like, okay, I want something else to read physically. I like to sit and have coffee in the morning and read my physical book. And then my audiobook, I just read like throughout the week or whatever. But yeah, this one's really interesting. I know it's super popular. I've actually never read it or seen the movie. So far, you know, I'm a big fan of video games as well. So far, I've really enjoyed it. Oh, I also forgot to mention, speaking of video games, I finished Resident Evil 4 Remake, which you saw me playing, I think earlier in this vlog, or maybe in the last vlog, but I liked that too. It was long, and it was actually pretty hard. I've played 2 other Resident Evil games. I played Resident Evil Village, 8, and then I also played Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, and then I played this one. I know this is an older one, and again, it's been remade. It actually came out earlier this year. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I like scary stuff. I like spooky games, so I had a good time. But video games, speaking of, I'm really enjoying this so far. I've only read a couple chapters. But yeah, it's fun. It's definitely entertaining. I'm still like learning about the world and the building there. It's set in the future. Virtual reality and video games, obviously a big theme. So if you like that, you probably will like this. You've probably already read this. Most people have, except for me. So. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and end this vlog here. Let me know if you enjoy this style and just kind of like this like week following me in my life. It was fun to do, so I definitely plan on doing more. Just kind of updating you guys on my reading as I go. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. I will see you next time. Bye.